welcome back to The Horror with your hostess with the mostest, Annabelle, as always. Welcome back. So we are obviously continuing our Halloween franchise review. I know I've already done the first Halloween. We are going to now move on to the sequel that came out back in 1981. So Halloween 2 picks up pretty much right where Halloween 1 left off and everything. We got a lot of the characters, not a lot, but quite a few of the characters from the first returning for this one, along with a new crop of characters to move the story along. And this is a movie, I mean, for, like, sequel-wise, like, sequels, you guys gotta understand, especially for, like, anyone who's, like, younger, we, back then, we had sequels to movies, but it wasn't like it is today. It really wasn't. I think it was just starting to kind of pick up of like, oh, hey, movie's successful. Maybe we should do a sequel. I mean, and I think it took a little longer to do sequels just because it was a little bit more of like, well, maybe we shouldn't. But, it's unlike now where it was like, before the, movie even gets to, like, opening weekend, it was usually like, okay, sequel's planned, and let's do it. It was kind of, it took a little bit of a longer process, and it certainly wasn't like it is today, where it's literally like, okay, well, we're just gonna be having sequels. It's almost like a given that a movie's gonna have sequels now these days. Very different back then. So it was kind of nice to see a horror movie getting a sequel and getting, like, a little bit of the treatment that it deserved in a sequel. This one definitely for me, I do really enjoy this movie. There are some things where it's like, it just, for me personally, as much as I do like watching this, it doesn't quite have the same magic as the first one. Like, there are certain moments that I really do like, that really kind of invoke some of that, like, childhood memories of watching this. It's still really enjoyable, but for me, it's not quite, Halloween 1978. I'm just saying. I don't know, maybe it's just Jamie Lloyd's really bad wig. I don't know. Actually, I should knock the wig, because that's one of the better looking wigs in movies that I have seen. I'm just saying, I don't know why I'm talking about the wig, whatever. But no, this, like I said, this picks up right after, or pretty much like from like the events from part 1, picks up from that, continuing the story, so we're in the same night and everything, and that's that is something that I definitely like, because as I said in my first Halloween video, that something that I really did like was, like, it was almost in real time, not like real time, but pretty close to real time, where it's like, we start off during the day, and we just, like, throughout the day, and see these, events unfold and everything, and then to see, like, the sequel kind of do the same thing and pick up right from where we left off in part 1, I thought was really good. And of course we have Donald Pleasence returning to reprise his role as Dr. Loomis. Once again, like I said in my last video, I give him a lot of credit for really being invested in this movie, in this project, in the sequels. I feel like he could have easily been like, well, no, screw it. Like, I already did one. I don't want to do another one. Like, just don't even have my character in there. So I give him a lot of credit for sticking with the franchise and everything, because like I said, he's definitely a very beloved character in this franchise. He is definitely very missed among this franchise and everything, so, Donald Pleasence, may you rest in peace, because you're amazing, I'm just saying. And I know he's been in a ton of other stuff, he's been amazing in those too, but yeah. Okay, so, sorry, I'm, like, trying to, like, rethink here. So, this one definitely kind of does, as I said, kind of moves the franchise, even though it's not really a franchise yet, this movie kind of does move the story along pretty well. We do find that there's a connection to Michael and Laurie, besides just Laurie dropping off a key at the Myers house, and that's kind of like, we're thinking that's why he is going after Laurie and her friends, because Laurie dropped off a key, and then later on her friends, kind of make a crack at him of, like, speed kills, and then automatically they are, like, the next victims as well. we now realize that there's more to Laurie than just dropping off Key. What do you know? Laurie is adopted. Strodes are not her biological parents. Wouldn't you know that Michael Myers is her brother, and his parents are Laurie's parents as well. Come to find out that a couple of years after Michael was institutionalized, Laurie is only a couple of years old at this point. Parents ended up dying in like a car crash or something, or an accident or something, and then Laurie is adopted. It's never really discussed in this one though. I think of like how or why Laurie is still like living in Haddonfield. Like I know the remake and stuff kind of goes into that. Like I know they kind of say like, you know, like, oh, they, you know, wasn't supposed to be adopted here or something, but ended up finding parents here or something. So that's what, you know, I think that's one of those things for me where, you know, it's one of those flaws where it's like, why would you let someone in the same hometown as this killer adopt his sister? Like, why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, even though it's like, okay, yeah, he was a kid at the time, he killed one person, it's still a little like, I'm just saying, I mean, wouldn't people talk and kind of like say something to her of like, oh, you're that Strode girl, weren't you the one who was adopted because your brother kills your sister? Like, bro, someone would have said something by now. Like, really, whatever though. One of those little things. Whatever. But um so and another thing that I kind of in this one that I feel kind of wasn't done as effectively is the whole like boogeyman concept. I feel like it doesn't work quite as well in this one. Maybe just because there's no kids in this one, really. I mean, I know there's like that kid who like ate a piece of candy and cut his tongue on a razor blade or something with that little Halloween legend. Boom. But yeah, it just, I feel like it wasn't quite as effective. I mean, he's still a pretty like terrifying presence and everything, but it just, I didn't find him as scary. You know? I don't know. But then again, you know what? It's very hard to kind of follow up a movie with another amazing movie, especially when that first movie was so well done and everything. It's kind of hard to follow that up. So really, honestly, I can't even fault the movie at the end of the day for too much, because, you know, and the fact that John Carpenter really didn't want a sequel to Halloween. So I don't, you know, and I know I think he didn't really put as much effort. He was just kind of like, all right, they want a script, so I'll write a script. And I know with some of the, at least with like the sister aspect, he kind of does put that down to being kind of drunk while writing that portion of the story. So I think he was just kind of like, okay, well, what can I do? Like, what's gonna throw them off? Let's make them siblings. Why not? You know, I mean, it makes sense, right? Um, but I mean, that's one of those things that kind of is good for the series, because you do, you know, then have a reasoning why Michael keeps going after this girl, instead of just like, oh, she got away, I'm just gonna keep trying to get her because, you know, she got away. No, let's make it a sibling because that makes more sense. But it also kind of, with what we have for the rest of the series, really just is like the one thing that kind of, I feel, has brought down the rest of the franchise, because I just feel like, you know, that sister aspect just, like, now it's like almost every time it's like, okay, well, and especially too when we got to like part 4 when Michael is brought back, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, crap, like, did you think Jamie Lee Curtis was just gonna keep signing on for these movies like Donald Pleasance was? Like, I'm surprised they kept getting Donald Pleasance, like, honestly, as much as I give him credit for, you know, being part of the series and everything, I'm still surprised that he did so many of these. Like, I'm just saying, even with the fact that he technically got blown up with Michael at the end of part 2, I'm just saying, I don't know why I'm getting so angry now. I'm so sorry. Sorry, this is me trying to like think about this movie now. But no, I think that one little aspect kind of leads to a lot of problems throughout the rest of the series because it, like I was saying, like come part four, after the then failed Halloween 3, they're like, okay, well we need Michael back and we need a new story now. Like how can we get him to start killing or going after someone else? Hey, let's do like an 8-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid because like who doesn't want to see a kid killed? Like really? So little things like that it's like, okay, well, you have a sequel, but now your lead actress and your main character is not going to be in the movie, so now you got to create something new. So I think that one little fact had a lot to do. Trust me, there's more to it than this, but I think that is a big factor of really kind of derailing the rest of the series because now you always got to think of ways to connect Michael to like the bloodline. So, I'm just saying. I know it's not like the only thing wrong with the rest of the series, but like I said, I feel like that one aspect has a lot to do with kind of the downfall with the rest of the series. Not to mention the continuity and the timeline and everything. Once again, timeline and stuff. So whatever. I'm just saying. But no, I mean, honestly, it's not a bad movie. I know a lot of people kind of gripe about this movie because, oh, it's set in a hospital, and oh, Jamie Lee Curtis is only in the movie for like 53 seconds. I know that's long. It was longer than that, but I'm just saying. And she was in a night or a hospital gown for like almost the entire movie, and like, oh my god, that wig. Like, I'm sorry, like, most of the, like, probably what, like, at least half the film in the first one was like set at like 2 different houses. Like, come on, get over yourself. Like, come on. I mean, and honestly too, like, what's gonna happen? We picked up from right from where first one ended. What did you think was going to happen? They were just going to let her go home and like sleep in bed or something? No, she's going to go to the hospital and get checked out. So whatever. Like, it's a hospital. It's a new environment. Whatever. Like, get over it. And get over the robe and the wig. I'm sorry. But I see people's gripes about stuff like that. So to me, I feel, especially the gown and the hair, are minor gripes to me. I'm just saying. And then something that always kind of cracks me up with this, and I think a lot of people, because I know for a fact that people have said this about this movie in other reviews and everything, but the scene where Loomis is driving with Brackett, trying to like find Michael and everything, and what do you know? Someone is dressed up like Michael, like I get that like this movie was made a few years after the first one, and like Halloween, I'm sure there were kids running around like Michael Myers, but why is Ben Tramer wearing literally the same outfit as Michael Myers? Like, I mean, I could see like the mask because Michael stole the mask from a hardware store. Okay, I could see the mask, but a jumpsuit? Like, really? Like, was a jumpsuit back then just, like, so readily available and was so much of just like, hey, I got a mask, now I need an outfit. Go-to thing is a jumpsuit. Like, really, bro? Really? And then, of course, Loomis kind of jumps the gun a little bit. Is kind of like, oh, well, I gotta see who it is, and what do you know, the kid is freaking out because he sees a cop car, I think kind of rightfully so, because he's probably like, okay, wait, what's going on, like, why is the cop car coming after me? So he's kind of like trying to like, sort of like walk briskly away, not quite running, and then, what do you know, another cop car comes, and I'm sorry, that cop car could have stopped, I'm just saying, because he had enough time, because Ben Tramer, I feel like, was in the street for a good 15 seconds or so before that cop car smashed him against the van and everything and burned him to death. I'm just saying. But I know it's a movie. It's one of those little, like, gripes and everything that's kind of like, dude, it's a movie. I'm just saying. But yeah, it just little things like that. Another thing though that I do kind of like, and I kind of didn't realize this once again, like in my first Halloween review, where there's certain things that I'm kind of like paying attention more to that I never just really acknowledged to myself is when they're in the classroom and they see like Sam Hain written on the board and stuff. I do like that he was talking then about like the Druids and everything, and, like the Celtic traditions of Halloween and everything, which I kind of liked because especially with like later sequels, specifically Halloween 6 once again, where they're kind of talking about like Druids and stuff. I do like that they had that in this series or in this sequel. I mean, obviously we didn't know we were going to be getting all these different sequels and everything, but it's just kind of nice to see how like Daniel Fearon's, kind of picked up on that, remembered that scene, and kind of applied it, towards that movie. Did it really work out in that movie? For right now, I'm gonna say no, but we'll see what I say when I actually sit down and watch it again. Both versions of that movie. But it's little things like that because it's like, oh, that's right. They did kind of say stuff about the Druids and everything and the Celtic culture in Halloween 2, so it kind of does make sense later on in the franchise. And plus too, I know, Halloween or like that whole tradition in Celtic mythology is a very big part of it and of in Irish culture and everything. So it's just kind of cool to like see them kind of infuse little things like that, not just like, oh hey, we're making a movie and we don't really need to have little things like that, So whatever. Um, but another thing, going kind of back to the whole sister aspect. Like, how did Michael even know? Like, how did Michael even find Laurie? How did Michael know who adopted her and stuff? Like, did he just kind of know that one day on the doorstep, like, hey, she looks like me. I don't know. Like, that always kind of like question. I know that's kind of like one of those running jokes in the series. It's like, how did Michael know? It's kind of like with Jason showing up um at Alice's apartment in Friday Part 2. I'm just saying, kind of same concept. It's like, how did you even know? How did you know that she was adopted? And how did you know who adopted her and where she's living? I'm just saying, I don't even know. But it's Michael. So, but yeah, I mean, so Halloween 2. At the end of the day, I think it's still a pretty, really good sequel and everything. Like I said, just for me, it's not quite as magical as the first one, but it's still definitely enjoyable. We have, we really do see with this one, them really trying to just, when I say them, I mean like Carpenter and Hill really trying to just like put an end to the, any more movies or anything by having Donald Pleasence and Michael blow up at the hospital, and you see Michael kind of come out ablaze and everything, and then boom, falls. So you really kind of see like, okay, you're led to believe, okay, no more sequels and everything. And honestly, I think that would have been a really good ending to the whole Michael aspect and everything. But of course, it, was pretty successful, so they were wanting more sequels. And I'll get more into this with part 3, but with what they were then going to do with the sequels, I give them credit because I think that would have been a little bit more effective than just having like a billion more Michael Myers movies. Maybe we would have had better quality of Michael Myers movies if they would have done, the anthology aspect to the series, but that's just me. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of Halloween 2. Do you think it's a bigger improvement on the first one, or do you think it's not as good as the first one? And who are some of your favorite characters within this sequel in Halloween 2, let me know as always, you guys. Till next time, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.